Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through some of the problems on the 6F assignment. All right, first one, which of the following are quadratic functions? So, quadratic function, if you'll remember, the highest power of x, or whatever variable it is, has to be squared. Can't be to the first, can't be to the third. The highest power has to be squared, so that is true on this one. And then also you can't have any variables in the denominator. Okay, so this one is indeed a quadratic. This one here, highest power of our x is squared. No variables in the denominator, quadratic. And then this one here, even though we don't have y on the right side, like all by itself, that's really not the issue. What the issue is that this is x to the first, so this is actually linear, not quadratic. Okay? All right. Number 2, for each of the following functions, find the value of y for the given value of x. So really all we're doing is we're just taking this x and we're plugging it in. This 1 we're plugging in for both these x's. So we get y equals 1 squared plus 3 times 1 minus 7. So that's going to be 1 squared is 1, 3 times 1 is 3, minus 7, so y in this case is negative 3. Okay. Number 4, if f of x equals x squared plus 3x minus 7, find f of 2 and f of 1. So here's what I'd like to look at with this here. So we have f of x, now they're saying find f of 2. So what's changed from this to this? The x's have turned into 2, so these x's here are also going to turn into 2. So this will be 2 squared plus 3 times 2 minus 7. So f of 2 is 2 squared is 4, 3 times 2 is 6, minus 7, 4 plus 6 is 10, minus 7 is 3. So f of 2 is 3. Okay, they're also asking us to find what f of negative 1 is. So again, we have f of x equals x squared plus 3x minus 7. Now we're going to replace all the x's with a negative 1. So this is negative 1 in parentheses, squared plus, 3 times negative 1 minus 7. I always like to put whatever I'm plugging in parentheses, because then when you get this case here, I know that I'm going to have to take negative 1 times negative 1 instead of just 1 squared and then a negative on the outside, okay, which would give you different answers. So f of negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, and another negative 7. So let's see, that's negative 10 plus 1 gives us negative 9. So there's our answers for those two. Okay. Number 5, determine whether the point satisfies the quadratic function. So really all we're going to do is we're going to plug this in for x and this in for y and see if it works. Okay, we've done this earlier in chapter 5 too. So for the y we have 4, and then 2 times the x is 0 plus 5. So does 4 equal 0 squared is 0 times 2 is 0. 4 equals 0 plus 5. 4 does not equal 5, so it does not satisfy. Okay. All right. And then one more here, 6, for each quadratic function, find the values of x for the given value of y. So if it says when y equals 4, so we're going to plug 4 in for the y and solve for x. You will also sometimes see this, you could also see this written as f of x equals 4, okay, which is different than f of 4. Okay, these two things are not the same. Not the same as. This is basically plugging 4 in for the y, and this is plugging 4 in for the x. Okay, so anyway, back to this here. So we get 4 equals x squared plus 3x plus 6. So I'm going to move my 4 over, and we get 0 equals x squared plus 3x plus 2, and we get to factor. All right, x and x. Only factors of 2 are 2 and 1. And let's see, this tells us that the signs have to be the same, and this tells us that they're both going to be positive. So plus 2 and plus 1, because 2 times 1 gives us 2, and 2 plus 1 gives us 3. Okay, so those are our 0 equals this times this. Okay, and this is the, I believe they call it the null factor law, but basically if you've got 0 equals something times something else, that means 0 has to either equal the first one, x plus 2, or 0 has to equal the second one, x plus 1. So we just solve both of these. Subtract 2, x equals negative 2, and over here subtract 1, x equals negative 1. Okay, so x could equal negative 1 or negative 2 on that one. Okay, all right. That's all there is for this one here. If you have any further questions on any of this assignment, please feel free to ask. Thanks.